Rebecca Martinez, a 26-year-old software engineer from Austin, Texas, discovers that her wealthy family has been systematically excluding her from important events and financial opportunities while favoring her older brother. After overhearing a conversation that reveals their true intentions to exploit her success for their own benefit, Rebecca decides to use her tech expertise and business acumen to orchestrate the perfect revenge. What starts as a plan for payback becomes a journey of self-discovery, family confrontation, and ultimately, the sweetest form of justice that will change their family dynamics forever. My name is Rebecca Martinez, and I'm about to tell you how one Sunday afternoon in Austin, Texas, completely shattered everything I believed about my family and set me on a path toward the most satisfying revenge I could have ever imagined. The Texas heat was already brutal at 2 p.m. as I pulled my Honda Civic into the circular driveway of my parents' sprawling mansion in Westlake Hills. The limestone facade gleamed under the scorching sun, and the perfectly manicured lawn looked like something out of a magazine. I grabbed the homemade tres leches cake from my passenger seat, Mom's favorite, and headed toward the front door for our monthly family dinner. At 26, I was the only one in the Martinez family who still showed up to these gatherings religiously. My older brother Daniel would breeze in whenever it suited him, usually with some new girlfriend and stories about his latest business ventures that never seemed to go anywhere. But me? I never missed a Sunday dinner. I thought it meant something. I was about to ring the doorbell when I heard voices coming from the open kitchen window. Something about the tone made me pause. I recognized my father's deep voice, tinged with that excitement he got when talking about money. "Rebecca won't be a problem," Dad was saying. "She never questions anything we ask for. Hell, she gave us $50,000 last year just because I mentioned the roof needed repairs." My stomach dropped. I pressed myself against the warm limestone wall, the cake trembling in my hands. But $150,000, Roberto? That was my mother, her voice strained with worry. "That's a lot to ask from her savings." "Maria, listen to me," Dad continued, his voice taking on that persuasive tone I knew so well. "Daniel's real estate deal in downtown Austin is going to make us millions. The kid just needs this one investment to get it off the ground. Rebecca's got that tech job, probably making twice what she tells us. She's single, no kids. What's she spending it on anyway?" I felt like I was going to be sick. The tres leches cake suddenly felt like it weighed 100 pounds. "We'll tell her it's for your medical tests," Dad went on. "You know how she gets emotional about health stuff? Maybe throw in something about the foundation settling. She'll write the check before dessert." My brother's voice chimed in from somewhere, deeper in the house. "She's so desperate to be the good daughter, it's almost sad. Remember when she gave me 25 grand for my startup?" He laughed, actually laughed. "That money went straight to my Vegas trip and the new truck." The cake slipped from my numb fingers and hit the ground with a wet splat, shattering the glass plate. 3 years of computer science at UT Austin, countless 60-hour work weeks at my software company, living in a tiny apartment so I could save money to help my family. And they saw me as nothing more than a walking ATM. I backed, away from the house, my heart pounding so hard I could hear it over the cicadas buzzing in the oak trees. My hand shook as I pulled out my phone and started recording through the kitchen window. I needed proof. I needed evidence of what they really thought of me. "The best part," Daniel continued, "is that she thinks we actually respect her opinion. Dad, you should see your face when she talks about her coding projects. You look like you're watching paint dry, but she eats up every 'that's nice, mija' you throw at her." Mom's voice was softer, but her words cut deeper. "I do feel bad sometimes. She tries so hard to impress us. But Roberto, you're right. She's got more money than she knows what to do with, and family should help family." "Exactly," Dad said. "And it's not like we're stealing. We're just redistributing the wealth. Daniel's going to pay her back once his deal goes through." "Sure I will," Daniel said, and I could practically hear his eye roll. Just like I paid back that loan for the motorcycle. That's when I saw her, Mrs. Henderson, our elderly neighbor, walking her golden retriever on the sidewalk. She'd known our family for 15 years, watched me grow up, always bragged about my accomplishments to anyone who'd listen. She waved at me with a confused smile, probably wondering why I was standing in the garden looking like I'd seen a ghost. I waved, back mechanically, my mind racing. These people, my own parents, my own brother, had been manipulating me for years. Every family emergency, every financial crisis, every sob story about helping Daniel get on his feet. It was all a lie. I walked back to my car in a daze, leaving the broken cake and shattered glass on their pristine walkway. As I sat in my Honda, the leather seats burning against my skin, I made a decision that would change everything. They wanted to play games with my money? They wanted to use my love against me? Fine. But they had no idea who they were messing with. I wasn't just some naive little sister with a tech job. I was a senior software engineer at one of Austin's fastest-growing startups. I understood systems, data, and most importantly, I understood how to expose the truth. But here's what really lit the fire inside me. I had been working on something they knew nothing about. For the past year, I'd been developing a proprietary app that tracked family, financial patterns, and debt relationships. It was supposed to be a helpful tool for families to manage shared expenses. Instead, it was about to become the weapon that would expose every lie they'd ever told me. As I drove away from that mansion, the Austin skyline shimmering in the heat ahead of me, I wasn't the same trusting daughter who'd arrived with a homemade cake. I was someone with a plan. Someone with skills they'd underestimated, and someone who was about to give them the education of their lives. What would you do if you discovered your own family had been using you like a personal bank account for years? Would you confront them directly, or would you do what I was about to do? Because what I planned next would not only expose their lies, it would make them face the consequences in a way they never saw coming. The next morning, I woke up in my East Austin apartment with a clarity I'd never felt before. The industrial loft space, with its exposed brick walls and floor-to-ceiling windows, suddenly felt like a war room instead of a home. I made my coffee extra strong, opened my laptop, and began what would become the most satisfying project of my entire career. First, I pulled up every bank statement, every Venmo transaction, every Cash App transfer I'd made to my family over the past 5 years. The numbers were staggering. $87,000. I had given them $87,000 based on lies, manipulation, and fake emergencies. Holy shit, I whispered to my empty apartment, the morning light streaming through my windows illuminating the devastating truth on my laptop screen. I spent the entire day creating what I called Operation Family Truth, a comprehensive digital investigation into every financial request they'd ever made. Using my software development skills, I built a program that analyzed patterns, cross-referenced their social media posts with their supposed financial crises, and created a timeline that would make any prosecutor proud. The roof repairs they needed money for? Daniel had posted Instagram photos of himself at a luxury resort in Cabo that same week. Mom's urgent medical tests? She was getting weekly mani-pedis at the most expensive salon in Westlake and posting them on Facebook. Dad's emergency car repairs? His BMW was in perfect condition, but somehow he'd managed to buy Daniel a brand new Ford F-150. By Tuesday evening, I had everything I needed, but I wasn't ready to strike yet. I wanted them to ask me for money one more time. I wanted them to lie to my face, knowing what I knew. I wanted to give them enough rope to hang themselves. I didn't have to wait long. Wednesday night, my phone rang. Dad's contact photo, a family picture from last Christmas where we all looked so happy, lit up my screen. "Hey, Poppy," I answered, keeping my voice light and unsuspecting. "Mija, I'm glad I caught you. Are you busy?" His voice had that slightly apologetic tone that always preceded a financial request. Just debugging some code. What's up? Well, you know how your mother has been worried about those tests her doctor ordered? The ones for her heart palpitations? I almost laughed out loud. There were no heart palpitations. Mom had been posting videos of her Zumba classes all week. Of course, Poppy. Is she okay? The insurance company is being difficult, and we need to pay out of pocket for some specialized tests. It's expensive, Rebecca. $15,000. $15,000. For imaginary medical tests. While my brother bought designer watches and my parents upgraded their already perfect kitchen. That's a lot of money, Dad. Are you sure insurance won't cover any of it? We've tried everything, Mija. You know we wouldn't ask if we had any other choice. Your mother is so stressed about it, and the doctor says waiting could be dangerous. The lies rolled off his tongue so smoothly, it was almost impressive, almost. Of course I'll help, I said, injecting just the right amount of concern into my voice. I can transfer the money tonight. Just send me the details of where it needs to go. The relief in his voice was palpable. Rebecca, you're an angel. You're Mother and I. We're so grateful to have a daughter like you. A daughter like me. A daughter they could manipulate and exploit. There's just one thing, Poppy, I added, my heart racing. I've been working on this new app for managing family finances, and I'd love to show it to everyone. Could we have a family dinner this Sunday? I want to present something special. Of course. Your mother will be so excited. She loves it when you share your computer projects with us. Computer projects. Like I was still 10 years old showing them my science fair volcano. After we hung up, I transferred the $15,000, but not to them. Instead, I moved it into a separate account I'd opened that week. An account they'd never see, connected to a plan they'd never expect. Thursday and Friday flew by as I put the finishing touches on my presentation. I created a PowerPoint that would systematically destroy every lie they'd told me, complete with screenshots, bank records, and social media evidence. I also prepared a surprise that would hit them where it hurt most, their reputation in their precious Westlake Hills social circle. Friday night, as I sat in my favorite coffee shop on South Lamar, sipping a lavender latte and finalizing my plan, my best friend Sarah called. Becca, you've been MIA all week. Everything okay? Sarah had been my roommate at UT and knew my family dynamics better than anyone. She'd always thought they took advantage of me, but she'd never said anything directly. Sarah, you know how you always said my family seemed to ask for money a lot? Girl, that's the understatement of the year. Your brother has probably borrowed more from you than most people make in salary. I told her everything. The overheard conversation, the financial investigation, the fake medical emergency, all of it. Holy shit, Becca. What are you going to do? I'm going to give them exactly what they deserve, and I'm going to do it in front of the people whose opinions they care about most. What do you mean? I smiled, looking out at the Austin traffic crawling down Lamar Boulevard. Sunday dinner is going to be very interesting. I've invited some special guests. Saturday night, I made my final preparations. I confirmed that Mrs. Henderson, our neighbor, would be there. She'd been thrilled when I'd asked if she wanted to join us for dinner and see my big work presentation. I'd also invited the Rodriguezes, my parents' closest friends and biggest social rivals in the neighborhood. They'd practically fought each other to be the first to accept when I told them I had exciting news to share about a major career development. Sunday morning, I put on my best professional dress, a navy blue sheath that I usually saved for client presentations, and loaded my laptop bag with everything I'd need. As I drove up to the mansion, I felt a strange sense of calm. No more tres leches cake. No more trembling hands. Today, I was walking in as someone entirely different. The truth has a way of setting you free, but first, it burns everything down, and my family was about to learn exactly how hot that fire could burn. What would you do if you had all the evidence you needed to expose your family's lies? Would you confront them privately, Or would you make sure the whole world knew the truth? Because what happened next didn't just change my relationship with my family. It changed everything about how I saw myself and what I was willing to accept in my life. Sunday dinner at the Martinez house had never had an audience before. But tonight, our dining room felt like a theater. Mrs. Henderson sat to my right, the Rodriguezes occupied the chairs across from my parents, and my family had no idea they were about to become the stars of the most uncomfortable show of their lives. "Rebecca, you look so professional tonight," Mom gushed, setting down her famous enchiladas. "We're so excited to see your presentation. Isn't that right, Roberto?" Dad nodded enthusiastically, probably calculating how this could somehow benefit him financially. Daniel sat slouched in his chair, checking his phone and barely acknowledging our guests. He had no idea his world was about to implode. "Before we eat," I announced, standing and connecting my laptop to their wall-mounted TV. "I want to share something incredible with everyone. This project has been a year in the making, and it's about to change everything for our family." Mrs. Rodriguez leaned forward with interest. "Oh, how exciting! Roberto and Maria are always bragging about how successful you are, Rebecca." "Are they?" I smiled, clicking to my first slide. "That's interesting because I've learned some fascinating things about success and family lately." The title slide appeared on the 65-inch screen, Operation Family Truth, a case study in financial manipulation. The room went dead silent. Dad's fork clattered against his plate. "Rebecca," he said carefully, "what exactly is this?" "This, Poppy, is 5 years of data analysis. Every financial request, every family emergency, every sob story you've fed me, cross-referenced with bank statements, social media posts, and actual receipts." Click. The next slide showed a graph. "In the past 5 years, I've given this family $87,000. Let me show you what that money really paid for." I advanced to a slide split between 2 columns, what they told me and what they actually spent it on. "Roof repairs, $15,000, I read aloud, my voice steady and professional. "Actual expenditure, Daniel's trip to Cabo San Lucas, as documented in 43 Instagram posts and credit card statements I was able to access through your shared family account." Daniel shot to his feet. "You had no right to—" "Sit down," I said sharply. For the first time in my life, my older brother actually listened to me. Mrs. Henderson's eyes were wide with shock. The Rodriguezes looked like they were watching a car accident in slow motion. Click. "Mom's urgent medical tests, $15,000. Actual expenditure, kitchen renovation and weekly spa treatments at Serenity Day Spa. Interestingly, Mom, you never mentioned feeling better after these expensive medical procedures." Mom's face had gone completely white. "Rebecca, you don't understand." "Oh, but I do understand. Better than you think." I clicked to the next slide, which showed a detailed timeline. This is my favorite part, the analysis of your emergency timing. The slide revealed something devastating. Every single financial emergency had coincided with Daniel's major purchases or their social commitments. Notice how Dad's car troubles always happened right before Daniel needed a down payment on something? How Mom's medical emergencies occurred exactly when you had expensive social events coming up. I looked directly at Daniel. My personal favorite was when you told me you needed $25,000 for a startup investment, and I traced that money directly to your gambling debts in Las Vegas. Did you know that Nevada casinos report large transactions? Did you also know that I work in financial technology and have access to databases that can track monetary patterns? The Rodriguezes exchanged shocked glances. Mrs. Henderson looked like she wanted to disappear into her chair. "But wait," I continued, advancing to a slide that made my father go pale. "The real masterpiece was last Sunday, when I accidentally overheard your conversation about manipulating me into giving you $150,000 for Daniel's fake real estate deal. I played the audio recording I'd made through the window. Their own voices filled the dining room, talking about how naive I was, how easy I was to manipulate, how they saw me as nothing more than their personal bank account. When the recording ended, the silence was deafening. "So here's what's going to happen," I said, my voice calm but steel hard. "Every penny of that $87,000 is going to be paid back. I've already contacted a financial attorney who specializes in family fraud cases. You can't sue your own family," Daniel exploded. "Watch me," I replied coolly. "I've documented everything. The fake emergencies, the manipulation, the lies. I have enough evidence to file charges for financial fraud and elder abuse." "Elder abuse?" Dad stammered. "Using emotional manipulation to extort money from family members qualifies. My attorney was very interested in your methods." Mrs. Rodriguez spoke up for the first time. "Maria, Roberto, is this true? You've been lying to Rebecca about needing money?" Mom burst into tears, real ones this time. "We never meant for it to get so out of hand. Daniel needed help, and Rebecca was doing so well. So you decided to treat me like a piggy bank instead of a daughter." I clicked to my final slide. Consequences and next steps. "Dad, you're going to sell your BMW and Daniel's truck. The money will go into a repayment account. Daniel, you're going to get a real job. I've already blacklisted you from every tech company in Austin, so don't bother applying in my industry. Mom, your spa membership is canceled, and you're going to start therapy to deal with whatever made. You think lying to your daughter was acceptable?" "And if we refuse?" Daniel asked, his bravado cracking. "Then I make this presentation public. I post it on social media, send it to every family friend, every business contact Dad has, every social group Mom belongs to. I've already created the accounts and scheduled the posts. All I have to do is hit publish." The power in the room had completely shifted. For the first time in my adult life, my family was listening to me, really listening. Mrs. Henderson stood up slowly. I think I should go home now." The Rodriguezes followed her lead, mumbling awkward goodbyes and shooting disapproving looks at my parents. When we were alone, Dad spoke first, his voice barely a whisper. "Rebecca, we're sorry. We never meant to hurt you." "Yes, you did," I replied simply. "Every single time you lied to my face, you chose to hurt me. Every time you manipulated my love for this family, you chose your greed over my trust." I packed up my laptop and headed toward the door. "You have 30 days to come up with a repayment plan. My attorney will be in touch." "Where are you going?" Mom asked through her tears. "To build a life with people who actually value me for who I am, not what I can give them." 6 months later, I was sitting in my new downtown Austin penthouse, paid for with a promotion I'd earned after my financial tracking app became a viral success, when I received the final payment notification. $87,000. Fully repaid. My family had kept their word. Dad sold his BMW. Daniel got a job at a construction company and was slowly learning what real work meant. Mom had started therapy and sent me a handwritten letter apologizing for years of manipulation. They'd asked if we could try family dinners again, and honestly, I was considering it. But this time, I'd never again be the naive daughter who trusted without question. I'd learned the most valuable lesson of my life. The people who truly love you don't see you as an opportunity to exploit. The sweetest revenge isn't always about destroying someone. Sometimes it's about forcing them to face the truth about themselves and giving them the chance to become better people. What would you do if your family betrayed your trust the way mine did? Would you give them a second chance? Or would some wounds be too deep to heal? The choice between revenge and redemption isn't always clear, but I learned that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is show people exactly who they are, and then give them the opportunity to decide who they want to become. And me? I became someone who would never again accept less than I deserved from family or anyone else. That's the real victory.